it's DIY Gemini, and welcome back to Christmas Dupes. This is week 4 of our Christmas Dupes series. It's going to be rounding out and closing out our series. In this last video of the Christmas Dupes series, we are going to go to woodworking. This video is actually going to be probably a little bit more challenging for me because I want it to be something that I want to learn from and get better at. So we are going to be tackling a bar cabinet from Pottery Barn. So let's get into that. So for this bar cabinet, it's the classic bar cabinet and mixology set from Pottery Barn. So this is a beautiful acacia wood box. It is beautiful, it is sleek, it is modern, it is masculine. I do really enjoy like the look of this. It comes with a bunch of mixology stuff inside as well. It retails for $399. Which is a lot. I'm pretty sure I can make this for a lot cheaper. But this is actually going to be a gift that I'm making for a friend of mine who really enjoys whiskey. I want to be able to gift something that's useful for him. He already has a mixology set, I believe. So I'm actually going to be including a whiskey smoking kit because he really enjoys whiskey. And this is like comes with little different wood chips of different flavors so you can smoke the whiskey at home. I'm going to include that instead of the mixology stuff, but it'll leave room for the mixology stuff if he wants to put those in there as well. I consider this more of a challenge to me, even though it's kind of just a box, because of the angles and how it's coming apart and how it's opening. And I do struggle with making things kind of square, especially using a circle saw. It's not going to be the most accurate or square cut that I can get. Table saw would be most ideal, but I don't have a table saw since I live such a small apartment. First, we're going to use plywood or pine, a cheap wood, just to like get it started because I don't really know how this is going to go first. So I want to test out I know what I'm doing with cheap wood and mess up on the cheap wood. And then since it is a gift and it is something that I want to make comparable to the Pottery Barn version, I want to use hardwood so that it is a fairly equal comparison between the two. So maybe either poplar or maybe if I can find acacia as well, I'm going to go to my local hardwood center and yeah, wish me luck, guys. My original plan was to use a bunch of rabbet joints to put the box together. I used a combination of a circle saw and chisel to make channels for the other boards to fit together, but ultimately I decided to go another route. After a lot of thinking, I think we're going to have to pivot again, and we're just going to do miter corners and miter joinery. It's not my favorite since it's not the strongest thing ever, and cutting angles with my circle saw isn't the most accurate thing ever. But that's the only way not to get seams in any of the sides, just like in the construction of that box. I think maybe the construction of the box is a little bit more advanced for my skills at the moment, but this is why we're trying to learn things and try to be better and advance more in woodworking. This didn't turn out bad. It still looks like a box. It's just not the completely seamless look that we're going for. Because as you can see at the top, right? So say this is the top of the box. You're still going to be seeing these seams here, which in the grand scheme of things, it's okay. But I want it to be like, just that it looks like a solid piece, just like in the real thing. And the only way I can figure out how to achieve that is using miter joinery. If anyone knows a better way than me doing that, let me know. It'll be too late because I already created it, but it's fine. I'll learn it for the next one. But yeah, I can still use this technically. It's just not the complete look that I want to go for. So I think I have a better idea of what to do. And yeah, I think we're ready for the real thing. I have some poplar from my local lumber yard, and I think we're ready to get started. So we're going to cut all of our pieces, and I'm trying to beat this before the sun goes down. So I'm just going to focus. have 4 pieces cut very quickly. So what we're going to do is miter the edges at a 45-degree angle. So the side pieces, which are 11 by 11, are going to have 1, 2, 3 mitered edges. These are 14 by 11. We have one piece that's going to be the drawer that we will alter later. Then we have these 3. So one of them is going to be the top piece. That's all 4 are going to be mitered. And then the other 2 are going to be 3 edges mitered. As much as I am going a little bit more quickly with haste, we're still going to be safe. So we definitely don't want to be cutting off any limbs or anything. So set our angle to 45. So now we have that at a 45-degree angle. All right, I think that's enough for today. It's really dark now, but I did get all my cuts done, so that's exciting. We'll do the assembly and some alterations or whatever we need to do tomorrow. Doing some testing on wood stain. We have espresso. Oh, we have espresso for this one, and then we have dark walnut here. Both are really nice. I think both are really good colors. I do like the walnut though. I think this really looks color a lot. So I think we're gonna go with the dark walnut and yeah, move forward. After the stain dries, we're going to assemble it all together. It's going to go something like this. Flipping it so that the inside of the box faces down, we'll put some tape to help us fold the box together. We'll leave that on to clamp overnight and we'll add on the top tomorrow. Our clamps are off now and our box is not looking too bad. Obviously we do need to fix this mistake, so you definitely see the seams. Did not do a perfect job, but it's okay. Overall, it looks really good. So our next step is actually adding our top. So our bevels are on the bottom side here. This is going to sit right up there. I'm just going to glue it all around just like we did before and put some clamps. After a couple of hours for the glue to dry, let's do the part where I'm most nervous to do. Okay, our top is dried now onto our box. So now it's time for the scary part, at least for me. So we are going to be cutting the angle to make it open. So I'm not sure how much you can see on camera, but there is a line this way, a line continuing here, up the top, and then around to the other side. So there's an angle here, and then there's lines this way. I figured the best way to do this is by doing it with a jigsaw. Yeah, I'm a little nervous to do that. Yeah, definitely really nervous. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. Okay, let's start off with our jigsaw and cut the bottom. This is where it's going to flip down for the drawer to slide out of afterward. So I think that'd be easiest to do with the jigsaw going upwards, and then we'll figure out from there what we're gonna do. I'm actually gonna tie her hair this time because I forgot to do that last time. It should come out like this, potentially. So our next step, we've cut all of the angled sides. So now it's just cutting the top off. And since I started by cutting this side like this at a 45-degree angle, that means the top is also consequently cut at a 45-degree angle. So yeah, so now these are cut like this because it follows the angles of the box. So what we're going to do is still continue our jigsaw. With some jigsaws, with mine included, you can change the angle of the way you're cutting. So just like with the circle saw, I can change it. So this little, for me, this little latch here, unlock it, and then you can swivel the saw in the way that you need. So in my case, since I'm going to be cutting from this side, I'm going to put it at 45 degrees. It's very faint, but you can see there's 0, 45 this way, and 45 this way. So I'm going to put it at 45 and then lock that. It looks so funky like this too. So I'm going to try to line up the blade with the initial cut that we did earlier. So I feel like it needed some support as I was shaking, and as this is going to come off, definitely need some support on this side. So I just put some paint cans and stuff underneath here, making sure that it's not in the way of the blade. We did it. Yo, that'd be so sick. Oh my god. Okay. 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 Cool. 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 We have our pieces cut. So we have the top portion out of here, and then this will flip over this way. Very nice. And then we have our bottom portion here that will flip down so that it exposes the drawer to come out. Our next step is attaching our top portion to here. We're going to do that using a piano hinge. They're called piano hinges, I guess, because these are the ones that they use on top of the piano key cover hinge. Yeah, anyway, it's a long hinge basically. I have this for 12 inches, and then I got it in black. It does include hardware with it. This comes in silver and gold, brass. I just chose a black finish. I think that should work. Okay. This is hard. After installing the hinge, there was a gap between our two pieces. To remedy that, we're going to embed the hinge into both pieces by chiseling out a section for them. All right, our piano hinge is on. We had some technical difficulties trying to figure out the screw situation, but she does open and close, which is really cool. For the bottom door, I made a lot of trial and errors with this, so I'll show you a little bit later in the video how we found a solution. For now, let's just make the feet for our bar cabinet. So with our door, we got it to work, but I do need to add some feet to the shelves because see how it lifts the whole thing when I open it. So I got some poplar from the big box store because I didn't have time to go to my local lumberyard, and this is why I recommend going to the lumberyard, because the lumberyard 12 inches wide 10-foot piece was 66 bucks. This small little 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch by 4 foot was $20 just for this tiny bed. So yeah, always try to recommend going there if you can. So I'm going to use some of this to add the feet and to create some shelving with this piece of poplar. So we have our template here. I made it out of some scrap wood. I'm just going to trace it onto our pieces. I will sand them soon. The router is still a very new tool to me, and I'm still learning how to use it. It's still quite scary for me, and I definitely want to be more comfortable in using it by the end of this year. Think stabilizing it was more difficult as the cuts got deeper, and I eventually gouged too far on this left side. So we're going to just add a thin wood piece from Dollar Tree on the underside, where I routed it a really wavy channel apparently at the bottom for it to sit in. Okay, we moved back inside because it is cold out there and it is dark. So I did what I can today, but we're gonna do some things inside just because I really want to finish this project. Because I have so many projects lined up and I really just want to get this done. And I think a couple of things we could do inside. We are going to glue our feet together. I made two for each side. So these two together. It's going to be these two together, and they're going to go on each side. I wanted to make them nice and sturdy, so that's why I made two pieces instead of one for each foot. Make sure that glue is nice and generous. Looking at the original bar cabinet, like on the website, I was trying to like figure out the best way to make it as like comparable as possible to the real thing. I know like my skill level is still very beginner, but I really wanted to see if I can do this project that's a little bit more technical, a little bit more precise with the limited tools that I do have, in hopes of getting better, you know, every time we do a project. Exploring new tools. The router is definitely really scary for me still. That thing like kicks back at you and it's like, it's scary. With this video actually coming out after Christmas, I know it's a Christmas dupes video. This was supposed to come out like near Christmas. Alas, the holidays gets busy and, you know, it is what it is. So that's why this is a little late, but it's okay. But yeah, with this year, I really want to expand my skills, learn more tools. I really want to be more comfortable with using the table saw this year and learning how to be more precise so it looks more professional and less DIY, you know? Yeah, so I hope to get a little bit better every time we do a project together. Do you guys have any goals for this year? What do you want to do? No pressure, because new year like doesn't mean you have to automatically start fresh. Like take your time, reflect. You know, there's absolutely no pressure of trying to figure out what you need to do and set precedent for the rest of the year, you know? After cleaning some flaws, I stained up everything and waited for it to dry. So we need to put the shelf on, but I want to put it high enough where it clears all the stuff that sticks up out of the drawer. The highest item is the actual smoker where you put the chips on. So that goes in here. I had to make a hole for this part to sit in so it's not as tall. So I'll put it like that. And then we'll put this on top. Since this is such a thin piece of wood, I didn't want to risk putting fasteners like screws or something or a nail gun and missing. And I don't want any fasteners to be seen on the outside. So I'm just going to glue them because it's a pretty tight fit anyways. And then we're going to clamp them for like at least an hour or two before letting it go. We're going to apply some wax to the sides of our drawers so that it's a little bit easier to pull it out without as much friction. So we are going to have our bottom door, and we're going to drill holes into this side, and we're going to drill a hole into this side for the dowel to seep in. I've already drilled a hole on through the outside here of the side of the box. And basically what's going to happen is that a dowel is going to go through here and then into our door, and then it's going to be allowed to swivel around. We want it just a little bit loose on this side, and we want the hole to be snug on this one and glued permanently into the door, but loose on here so it can swivel. What we're going to do is put some wood glue into our hole here. So the dowel, there's going to be the glue part. There's going to be some wax on this side so that it's able to rotate more freely. It's tightly in there. Basically, we want to make sure that the glue is not touching this at all. The glue is solely on the door. So if the glue gets on the side, you won't be able to open your door. We don't want to do that. And you notice that I've made these dowels a lot longer than what they need to be, because it's easier just for installation purposes to have it longer, and then we just trim them to size. Right, so I'll let that glue dry a little bit before we cut them to size. Right now there's nothing to keep the door from just falling down like this when it's sitting up. I have some neodymium magnets from Amazon. They came in a different size pack. I think this one should be good. Yeah. All right, in order to match this to this piece, we're gonna take a tip I learned from the Sorry Girls and put some lipstick on it. So you can see the little red marks here and here. That's kind of worked. Before you install your other magnets to the door, make sure it is the correct way and it's not in the repelling side like this. You want to make sure it is the proper way. Let's install our top piece. All right, we are done, you guys. We have made it to the finish line. We have completed our bar cabinet dupe, and you know, I'm really proud of this one. It was definitely a learning curve all the way. There's a lot of trial and error, so many errors, but you know what? This is why we're trying to get better every time we do a project, learn what better techniques, and be more precise. I am aware that we do have some flaws with this one. I know my mitered edges definitely wasn't perfect, which is what I was expecting anyways. But overall, the construction of it, how it came together, and how we figured out how to put the box together and also kind of destroy it in a sense, worked out. Like, it still looks really good. Overall, though, I am really proud of how this came out and how we accomplished this project. And I hope my friend really likes it when I give it to him. I know it's a little late, but it's okay. All right, let's get down to the cost breakdown. Now, before we actually get to that, I want to note that comparing this is not going to be one-to-one. Because the Pottery Barn version is using acacia wood, where I'm using poplar wood. Poplar is normally the cheaper of the hardwoods to get. So there is a difference there as well as my technique and skill is not as perfect as this one that's made by Pottery Barn. And as well as I didn't include a full bar set like they included in there. Since my friend already has a bar set, I just wanted to include a whiskey smoker since he's really into whiskey. So it's not going to be a one-to-one comparison between the two, but just for fun, let's compare our costs. So, and this project did involve a lot of supplies. It's mainly the wood that cost the most money. So our total came out to $143.90. which honestly is not bad. Like compared to $400, that's pretty good. And it's handmade, all things considered. I think we did a pretty good job, and definitely lessons learned going forward of trying to be better and more precise at things. And hopefully learning more tools, getting better at the router, getting more confident in using a table saw. Those are just two of my goals this year. I just want to get better at sewing and maybe using a pattern for the first time because I've literally never done that before. So yeah, so here's to a new year. Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you so much for your patience with this video. I'm so, so sorry. This is so late, but I'm looking forward to more projects with you guys. I have a lot lined up, so I am excited to share. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll be posting more behind the scenes content as always on my socials at Hi DIY Gemini. Thank you for following along for these Christmas dupes, post Christmas dupes as well, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.